Alright, so this morning I'm doing a quick video for this scratch fix all-in-one by Dupli-Color. This is for my 98 Mazda B-4000, which is basically a Ford Ranger. The color is Oxford white, so I assume it's the same as the Ford Oxford white since they're made in the same factory and painted the same paint, I assume. I may be wrong. So I picked this up. This is Oxford white, and I'm going to give it a clean. I have a few scratches on here. I normally don't care, but my wife said something about it, so I thought I'd clean up it and I drop it on the ground. So I'm going to do this scratch right here that's by the back window. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to hit it with some acetone just to clean it up, make sure there's no grease or anything on that spot, and then hit it with the paint stick. Now with the paint stick there's 3 steps, and I'll go through each step as I do it. So let me first hit it with some acetone and we'll pick it up from there. Alright, so sorry for the jiggly camera here. There we go. The first thing that you do is it has this tip here that's like a fiberglass tip, and you're supposed to just kind of go over it, make sure there's, clean it out. I'll hit it with acetone one more time. Alright, so that's good and scratched. I think it's supposed to help the paint stick as well as clear out any extra gunk in the edges. Acetone. Okay, so now there's 2 ways to get paint out. You take the tip off, and then there's like, it reminds me of like a whiteout pen where you tap it and then the paint comes out. If you unscrew this, and it has like a brush, like a fingernail polish brush. So I just put that on there. It's pretty thin, so getting it comes out pretty thinly. Looks like it, at least while it's wet, it looks like a decent color match, but the problem is that it's running really bad. Let me wipe that off. Let me shake it up again. I shook it up beforehand, but it sat for a few moments, so let me shake it up again. Let's clean all that off. Now that it's shaken up a little bit better, is it a little thicker? Yeah, it's a little thicker now. I probably should have been using the brush, but I figure I do this a little bit easier. There we go. So it's still gonna drip. That might be too big of a spot to have tried to do. We'll let it sit for a minute. So anyways, so you paint it with this side, and then this side is a clear coat that you coat over it. So what I'm going to do is, it's dripping again, so obviously it's too much. So I'm going to do a smaller amount here at the top. Just let it sit for a second here at the top, and then I'll come back and put some more paint on there when it's had a chance to dry a bit. One of the biggest reasons why I was doing this is because back here on the tailgate, it's obviously been scratched, but it looks like they hit it with literally whiteout. So it'd be nice if it covered up and was the same color and didn't stick out quite as much. So we'll see. I'm just going to cover this one side a little bit just to see if it covers up this other paint, and it looks like it's a much better match. It's supposed to be a perfect match from Dupli-Color. So we'll see. I know that sometimes, you know, especially with the age of this vehicle, this car is, it's an 89, or excuse me, 98, and it's almost 2017, so it's, what's that, almost 18 years old? No, 19 years old. And so, you know, paint fades and paint changes color over time, especially if it sits out in the sun. So I'm going to go around, hit some more spots because I have the spot here. I'm just going to hit them with some acetone, clean them up, throw some paint on there. It needs to dry for about 30 minutes to an hour, and then you can hit it with the clear. So I'm gonna go ahead, go around and hit some more spots, clean them up, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've done 2 coats on this scratch here, and it's not a perfect color match, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was. One problem is again, this paint is really runny, and it's very easy, whether you're using the brush or that tip, for it to come out too quickly and get too much paint, and then as you can see here, it drips a bit. So I don't know how to get it very even. If I come back here to the tailgate, you can see I've slathered now. I went over this with that fiberglass tip, and most of the paint that was there just flaked off. It was not put on very well, and so even just the slightest pressure from that tip flaked it off. So I've had to put 3 or 4 coats on this now, trying to get it to even up. Now in the instructions they recommend that you follow after with a hair dryer to get the air bubbles out, and I don't have air bubbles in it, but it's not super smooth because again, it's really hard to get a small amount of paint. You either have too much or no paint at all on the brush, and so that's the hard part. So it really could stand to be gone over with a sander, like a 800 or 1000 grit wet dry sand. I'd highly recommend, if you plan on doing this, pick a more inconspicuous spot and just practice, or just grab a piece of metal, maybe a painted piece of metal, and just try to practice painting it on without getting drips everywhere and lines through it and stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and hit both of these one more time, just to try to fill in some of the deeper holes, and then I'm going to be letting it dry completely and hitting it with clear. Now again, this is an 18-year-old truck, and I don't expect it to look perfect, so it is nice to have that one big scratch gone, though. I think it's a much better color match. It's not perfect, but it's a much better color match. It'd look even better if I were better at blending, because around the scratch it's kind of discolored on the other side of the scratch, so I kind of had to go a lot wider than the scratch was to cover some of that up. And you can see just how deep that scratch was in some of these places, so it would take a lot of paint to fill that in, and I'm not going to fill it in. I'm just going to color it and then hit it with the clear coat. So it'll be about 30 minutes or so, and I'll follow up to clear it. Okay, so I'm going to start off this video where I finished the last one, or the section of the video I should say. So there's the patch that I did right there, and it definitely is improved. The paint color is not a perfect match, but it's pretty close. This is definitely a 5 to 10 foot mod is how I consider it. You know, it's something that it definitely has improved it, but it's not made it perfect. I have some other places I need to go over, like there, and this is not necessarily to fix the paint as much as it's just to prevent a place from rusting on the truck. And then back here on the tailgate, it's a little shiny now because of the clear from the bottom part of this. It just has a little sponge applicator to put on there, so it's a little extra shiny. It's drying right now, and that should go away. It's not super even, but that scratch was all the way down to the bare metal, and so I'd have to put up several layers of paint and then sand it, and then paint and sand it, and that's just not worth it to me. This is Oxford white. It says Ford Oxford white on there. I have a Mazda, so I don't know if just from the age of the truck, I did look up the paint code for that, and that does match this. I don't know if it's the age of the truck. This truck does have a salvage title, so it's had some work done on it, so I don't know if it's been repainted at all at any point or anything. So but at this point, I'm satisfied. This was less than $12 shipped, so I'm satisfied with it. There's plenty of paint in here to do multiple chips. I don't even think I used, you know, a third of the paint that's in here for this big long scratch and the one over there. So I'm going to hit a couple other spots and call it good. Again, satisfied with it. It's not a professional job, but if you have an older truck like this, or if you have, you know, just some scratches here or there, especially if you live somewhere where it's, you know, they use salt on the road, and rust is a big thing to worry about. It's important to keep the bare metal painted to keep it from being rusted. So anyways, thanks for watching. Tell me what you think down in the comment section below. Love to hear it, and have a great day.